So good morning. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. I am currently enrolled in the Kaufman Fast Track class, and it has so far been a wonderful experience. And several of my classmates are actually here today in support. So for that, I'm very grateful. So my name is Christina Connors. I'm the owner of a new business called Child Inspired. My professional background, I'm an occupational therapist. I've been working with children and adults with disabilities for just about 15 years now. And the concept actually behind this business began actually more kind of a blend of my experience as a therapist, but more importantly as a mom. I have 2 children. My husband is here with me today. We have 2 children, and about close to 2 years ago, our son was hospitalized. He had developed pneumonia in both lungs and H1N1 flu, and he was actually medevaced from one of our local Sussex County hospitals up to AI DuPont. His condition became critical, and he was on advanced life support for several days before his condition could be stabilized. When the doctors came in and they informed us that he would survive, that overwhelming sense of just such relief was so overwhelming. But then also kind of flooded in the fear of, how do I explain to my child when he'll be able to go home? Because right now, that recovery is very unclear to us. It's very unclear to his medical team. And with children and adults, oftentimes, you know, time concepts in a hospital setting are very blurred. Days and nights, they run together. Children on top of that don't understand days and weeks and calendar concepts. So how are we going to help encourage our child that he would get home? And that was really very uncertain to us. So at the time, I had a dear childhood friend who was desperate to help in some way, and I called her and I asked her if she would be willing to make something for me. So our son loves cars and trucks, and so I asked her just to get a piece of poster board, make a road, and make a symbol of the hospital at one end, and at the finish line put a picture of our home. And I asked her to put Velcro on it and attach a Matchbox car, so that we could just visually represent to him how he was progressing. And what we were shocked with was how his medical team just embraced this concept. We had doctors, actually, while our son was still sedated, come in. They picked up the Matchbox car. They said, "Oh, buddy, you've already rounded this bend." And they threw down the car, you know, a little further along his road. So I'll actually pass that around. We have some photos of kind of how the concept started. Mike's already seen it, so. So that was kind of how the whole concept came to be. And it was months later, after his recovery, that I was talking with another parent of a child who had also been through some very lengthy procedures. And she encouraged me to do something with that concept. She said there's many families and children that would benefit from a tool like that. So Child Inspired is just that. We've developed, in partnership with a local artist, we've developed, at this point, 4 different illustrations, and they're all different themes for different children with different interests. And basically, this is a product that is designed to be individualized, either by the family or the medical team. So when the family gets this product, basically, and I have everything taped down, they basically get this board. Everything is, we specifically picked this material so that it would be durable, but also for infection control reasons. If anything splashes up against this, any bodily fluid, if a child's taken from an isolation room to a non-isolation room, it can be wiped down, sanitized. But I also wanted it to be large enough that it's visually engaging, but not so large that it can't easily be brought to the bedside. So the directions are actually printed on the back of each product. The first step is to write the child's name or have the child write their name if that's age appropriate. And then the family's encouraged to place a photograph of their child here. And what's amazing is that medical staff often love to see pictures of your child in a healthier state. So that's a great way for that to be portrayed. And then at the finish line, either a picture of their home, a picture of something they're motivated to get to. So whether it's their family pet, their siblings, their favorite beanbag chair in the playroom, whatever it is that they're really encouraged to get to. And then each board comes with a repositionable sticker. So the idea is that as the medical team is making their rounds, this sticker is moved in correspondence with their medical progress. So nothing here is linked to time concepts, so whether this is a 3-week admission, a 1-week admission, a 3-month admission, the medical team isn't necessarily, they're just encouraging the child by moving a little bit at a time, or sometimes it's quick leaps. But our purpose is to encourage the medical team never to move the child's sticker backwards. Setbacks occur. Surgeries are needed, additional chemo treatments, whatever the child's hospital course may be, it's very unpredictable. So each board has what we call a neutral zone, which is, in this particular illustration, it's a pit stop. So it's a way to soften the medical jargon. The medical world is so foreign to anyone that doesn't work in it, and often even those of us that do work in it, there's still so much that is very complicated and complex. So just like cars need new tires, just like princesses, they get tears in their ball gowns, superheroes need additional superhero strength. That's a way to soften some of that medical jargon. And the sticker is moved there until they're ready to resume their course. So one of the last steps is actually for the medical team to autograph the back on discharge day as a way for them to really, truly personalize this and encourage the child as they're going home, that this is a keepsake for them to take home with them as they finish their medical journey, if you will. Let's see, we've also encouraged families to personalize it even with more details, so we have available to some of the facilities additional like little word bubble stickers that can be put on there, last chemo treatment, first time out of bed, different individualized. The whole purpose of this is to make it very individualized for the child and family. So those are the illustrations we have at this point. I think what's so important to educate the medical community about and to make known about our product is that, we give so much information in an auditory way, and we expect children and families to process that information. And it's so difficult when you're under that level of stress and anxiety to really process that information. So this is really intended as not only a visual aid, but interactive. So it enhances that communication between children, families, their medical teams, in a way that's a little less threatening and helps to ease their anxiety. So.
Great job, Christine. What a product. Now the floor is open for questions, answers, and comments. Please use the microphone, though. It is being recorded, so.
Good morning.
Concept, how far have you taken it into the medical community, such as, let's say, a BB health system, et cetera?
It's not been to BB. There are a few select people within the community, within our local community hospitals that are aware of this product, but more of my efforts have been spent in pediatric facilities. I have attended 2 medical conferences at this point. There was a pediatric trauma symposium out in Pittsburgh with a lot of pediatric trauma physicians and nurses in kind of the mid-Atlantic region. And then I've also been to a medical conference in Cincinnati where dealing with, that was attended by social work, child life specialists, therapists, different medical professionals that work specifically in the pediatric world, mostly pediatric hospitals.
So it's in practice?
Right now, 40 of them are being trialed at AI DuPont. So far, the testimonials are phenomenal. And we're in, most of my direct contacts are with staff members at AI DuPont. And my biggest challenge right now is because this is a new product and really making people aware that it exists, what it is, and then finding distribution channels. One of my biggest challenges is that this product is most useful to children and families at a very specific time of need. It's very high anxiety time. Families don't necessarily have the time or the ability to search out resources. They're really just going through, the bare, everything that they can do just to keep things together in such a difficult situation. So I really need to find distribution channels to get this into the hands of children and families at a time of need.
What's the economic side of it for you from the standpoint of cost, et cetera?
Right now I'm producing them, and I have are we talking profit margins or?
I just would like to know where you are financially as far as supporting a product line like that and then being able to market it.
Right now we're self-funded. So right now we're very much in the startup phase with startup expenses, as many small business owners can relate to. But yes, getting that product right now we've had some success actually getting philanthropist groups and corporate businesses to purchase product so it can be actually donated to children's facilities as a way to trial it. And that may be kind of the first step into recouping some of our startup expenses and getting the product out there, with the hope that medical facilities will.
And my
Yes.
last comment, if you look at the back, it says, Mommy,
Yes.
when am I going home? Well, knowing Mike, in the short period of time that I got to be here this morning, a couple of us dads.
So that was early feedback, yes, and I appreciate that comment. So in our trail home, our newest illustration, the mommy has been removed, and it says, "When can I go home?" Because we did receive that feedback from one of the therapists up at AI DuPont. When we put "Mommy, when can I?" our story of just being able, whether you're a mom, a dad, a grandparent, a sister or brother, just that feeling of desperation when, that child, when they speak out, mommy, daddy, that desperation in their voice of when can I go home. But yes, thank you.
Good morning, Christine.
Good morning.
Christine or Christina?
Christina.
Christina. Absolutely beautiful concept.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And as I'm looking at the visuals, they look a lot like the roads I came in on this morning and got caught up in construction and hit some speed bumps and had to make some pit stops. And so all very relevant to my life, and having just spent some time with my mom, who was the patient in the hospital, I could think of many days and many moments in which that would be also applicable to have shared that with my mom. So that is really a question, the question that I have beyond the medical community. My head is spinning, and I'm sure you've gone through this process and continue to go through the process in terms of all the different ways that this is applicable in other scenarios, industries, situations.
Absolutely.
I'm thinking of a niece who has some behavioral issues in school, and oftentimes, or my nephew who just did so well in responding to those little smiley faces on the
Yes.
refrigerator. So any comment
Yes.
on that?
So I think this was designed after our experience with the hospital in mind, but the use for this is so incredibly broad. It's almost overwhelming to think about. I have a local friend who, her 9-year-old was due to get braces. Very overwhelmed, very anxious about the process, struggled with some anxiety disorders prior, just an ongoing issue. And she wanted one of these as a way, and she said, well, how am I going to use this? So we decided, instead of, obviously she's home, it's an orthodontist, it's really nothing relevant specifically to the way this is designed. But in the finish line, I asked her to glue popcorn pieces, bubblegum wrappers, the things that she was not permitted to have until she reached that finish line. So after her orthodontist appointments, they would move her a little bit closer with the idea that when she got to that finish line, it was going to be a gorge fest on bubblegum and popcorn. And I think the same is true, if you've been working very hard and you're looking forward to a trip to the Bahamas. You can talk about the Bahamas, but putting a screensaver on your computer of that ocean water and that hammock, there's something about visually, motivating you and enticing you of, okay, I can see that, that's coming. So yes, I think this can be used in a variety of ways. Yes, thank you, Mike. There are, we do have preliminary sketches, and the artist is working on designs for Wounded Warrior Board. We've had feedback that that population would really like something like this as going through the rehab process, and adults, for sure. Even though adults understand time concepts, there is something about after a staff member leaves the room, still being able to see, okay, I'm creeping along there. I'm still headed the right way, and everyone being focused on that goal. It's everyone working towards that same goal.
I could see the same kind of concept for our aspiring entrepreneurs that are in the room,
Yeah.
where they have their desired business at the end of that roadmap. So, absolutely. Other questions, comments? Don't be shy. We need to give her feedback.
Back there.
Oh, wonderful.
Hello.
Hi, Kim.
How well do you think this design, what you have, would work for patients who have like mental health issues, such as like eating disorders or anxiety, depression, so on and so forth?
Perfect. So when we designed this concept and started sketching out the initial illustrations, I did not want it to be disease specific. This is really an opportunity to kind of get away from the disease specific nature of whatever someone is going through. So whether it's pediatric cancer, whether it's an adult who's experienced a stroke, when we have an appropriate illustration for that adult population, whether it's an eating disorder or mental health condition, really, this is really more in line with the interests. These specific illustrations are targeted more for the 3 to 10, 3 to 12 maybe population. There is plans for an adolescent one that's a little bit geared for, as these may come across a little too juvenile for the adolescent or preteen, tween, if you will, population. And there's also been feedback that certain facilities would like one for the NICU or their neonatal population, which to me, a baby, doesn't need any explanation on time, but the parents are looking for a resource, so a certain kind of graduation board, if you will, that their child has kind of made it through this longer medical course and achieved the goal of going home.
Your screen looks very professional. Could you please tell us, is that a slideshow or is it part of your website?
It is not part of my website. I have to give huge kudos to John Donato, who is our artist. He's actually a local gentleman who does a lot of collaborative murals in schools and different facilities. Wonderful gentleman, and he has done all of our artwork, and he has helped me with logos and this video that you see here. So.
And John is great. He's into
Yes.
entrepreneurship, too. He
Yes.
created a curriculum for us here at the college.
I see that you have at least you've applied for it,
Yes,
but you've applied for it.
it's received.
You
It's
do have
completed.
it.
Yes.
Okay, and do you take this, have you been to many trade shows?
2 so far.
And where were the trade shows?
Pittsburgh and Cincinnati.
And how were you received there?
Wonderful.
I would think this thing would
Wonderful.
catch on real fast and go probably as fast as you want to allow
Well,
it to go.
it's incurring the startup expenses of going and traveling, so that's our biggest challenge at this point is,
Well, can't we talk to some people in the medical community and we'll get you some funding?
that would be fabulous, and that's why I'm here.
Okay.
Thank you. Wonderful presentation, Christina.
Thank you, Karen.
Truly inspired. And just to follow up on Mike's comment, that's exactly what I was going to say. I know that your challenge is, as you very aptly described, that the need for this product and service that it provides is during a time that the parents aren't thinking of what can I, you had the foresight to ask your friend to provide it, but most parents probably don't because it's such a high anxiety and high stressful
Absolutely.
time. So you need this product and service implemented in the programming of a hospital setting already there, which to me seems like we need to get the ear of a chief operating executive, a CEO of a pediatric facility.
Yes.
And I need to ask my colleagues here, how do we get that ear? Who do we get? What are the people that we need to contact to get them in touch with you?
Absolutely.
Do you have any particular facilities in the general area that you want us to reach out to?
I would say I am open to any networking and any potential contacts. I love the opportunity to talk about this. This is something so incredibly dear to my soul. It's been very therapeutic for us as a family, for me in particular, to find, kind of a positive outlet for a very challenging experience for us as a family. And so I am open to discussing any of this with any contacts. Finding the right person to contact in each facility, I think, presents a challenge because every facility, the administration is different. So, one avenue in one pediatric facility may not be the same in another. So I think that anyone who has any potential networking opportunities, I would love to explore that. So thank you. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, the networking and the implementation, yes.
I think this is a wonderful idea. Not only in the medical community, for children, I think this could be used in nursing homes as well. I have a mother in a nursing home, and just bringing her home for the holidays, knowing it's going to happen, but she has no concept of time because she never comes out. The days and the days, and she asks me every day, how many more days? It's like with children, how many more sleeps till it's time to go. But I think it could be used in nursing homes as well, even for their therapy, how many more days of therapy? Because
Absolutely.
they stay in there and they lose the concept of time.
Well, and there's nothing worse than telling a patient, from my experience as a healthcare provider, it's very challenging to tell a patient that they're going to go home Tuesday, and then it ends up something comes up and they don't go home till Thursday. You want to talk about frustration, and sometimes
It causes
anger.
them a lot of anxiety.
Tremendous amount of anxiety and disappointment. So yes, I think that is very helpful.
I just want to say good morning and thank
Good
you
morning.
for stepping up and being here today. From the standpoint of cognitive stuff, this is fantastic. It's solutions-based, it's future-oriented, and it's got a lot of oomph behind it, if you look at theories and things like that. I'm a little confused.
Okay.
Okay, and here's where my confusion comes in. I hear the marketing going toward the medical field, the doctors and so on and so forth, and yeah, I see some benefit to it, but the end user, who are the individuals, the families, don't seem to be being addressed. Are you doing that in some way at this point in time? I'm looking at your different marketing channels, and I'm trying to figure out where you're going with it.
Me too.
Okay. Are you considered a for-profit or a not-for-profit organization at this point?
We are set up as a for-profit. Right now, I'm a sole proprietor, and that needs to be changed to an LLC. So I'm in the process of making that change. I agree with you that my marketing channels are very broad right now, and I'm trying to help find some focus and direction with that. The feedback that I actually received from a family group at AI DuPont, I presented it, and it was a group of some administrators and family members, and the family members at the end of that meeting were like, why are we waiting for the hospital if I knew something was available? So marketing it to hospital gift shops to get that available quickly to families. Or again, to corporate or nonprofit organizations that can fund this and make it available to the Ronald McDonald houses so they can just issue it to families at a time. I think that is definitely an avenue that I need to explore more effectively.
Yeah, just one last quick
Okay.
question on that, and it has to do pricing, the price
Yes.
per unit. Not, I don't want your cost. I
Okay.
want your cost
Price per
to-
unit?
Yes.
So the price per visual get well map is $19.95, and then there's bulk pricing available for facilities or organizations that are interested in bulk units.
Christina, I think we could probably talk for quite some time in the future. And I envision, one day, 1 million cups, the next day, Shark Tank. What do you think?
Thank you.
Before we conclude, though, we have an important question to ask
Yes.
you, and that is, what can we, as members of the community, do to help support you?
Yeah, spread the word. If you work for an organization or a business that does some charitable donating, especially around the holiday season, if you're interested in purchasing product, we can actually put your business logo and website directly on the back of the board, so it shows the generosity that your business is providing to provide this resource to families. So that would be immensely helpful, and any networking or funding opportunities would be incredibly helpful.